Hey guys, welcome back to the Compulsive Survival Builder. I just wanted to do a quick little video here discussing the 0 KB save error. I recently did a couple of videos on how I modded my game, my load order, when I enabled my mods, testing a few of them. I went pretty in depth on all of it, and I really only kind of touched on the 0 KB save error. Well, after I did those videos, I added a few more mods, and I started running into it again. So, I did have to do, in order to get my mods to work right, I did a full reinstall, and I did the whole setup again, plus my new mods. Kind of the way I did it in the previous video. I wanted to mention some of the changes that I made in my load order, because I did have to rearrange things very slightly to get everything to work. Most of it is still all in the same order. Let's see, yeah, the interiors, all that stuff's still in the same order. There's a few that I added. This custom crafting stations, I'm not sure if it's contributing to it, but I know I ran into the 0 KB when right after I used some of the crafting stations. Plus, I was getting some crashes. I also moved it and grounded down in the workbench mods, or the workshop mods, that is, because grounded does add a menu. It's a sub menu within the concrete building section, and custom crafting stations, I don't know, I just moved it down because usually if you're having trouble with mods, then you should move them further down. You should probably try to keep them in the same section, like the sections that I listed out and that are listed on the load order framework that I've linked on my page several times. But really, if you're running into mods that are screwing up your game, move them lower, even if it means moving them out of that section. I added this, no settlement quests. Basically means that you can access any workbench that you come across without going through all of the rigmarole of making friends with the settlement and such. I don't know if that one's giving me problems. I know that I went to Abernathy Farm and accessed that workbench, and then shortly thereafter experienced the 0 KB save error. And then I had to, and this was even after I did my reinstall and everything. It was just recently. I lost a lot of progress. If you run into it, the main thing to combat it, and this is something that's gone over in more detail in the link that I left to the Bethesda thread addressing the 0 KB save error. Essentially what you have to do is, when you get the error, it will create a save file. Even though it tells you it can't save it, it'll still create a save file. Now, that save file is 100% absolutely corrupt, and you should not use it. But instead of just deleting it and moving back, the problem with this error is that it will also corrupt the entire save folder on your PS4 dedicated to Fallout. And so if you leave it, it will continue to corrupt saves within that folder. So really the best thing to do is, the moment that you get that error, close out your game immediately. Get out of there. And you're going to lose some progress. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. You're going to lose some progress. So you close out, you pop in a USB drive, or if you have the cloud, whatever, and you go back to the save before that save. And it may be a long time ago, and that's what happened to me. I lost a whole day's worth of progress in my game, and I've been binging all weekend, so it was really disappointing. But you copy that one save file, just that one save, either to the cloud or to your USB drive. And then instead of just deleting that save, you back out and you press your options button. You back out and you select delete files on the system, and then you hit, before you actually get into the Fallout folder, you hit the options button, and it'll allow you to select the entire folder. So you select the entire folder and you delete the entire thing, settings and all. Then you have to also delete any screenshots or video clips that you have of the game. Now you can, prior to deleting them, copy them to the cloud or to your USB drive as well if you want to save them. You got to get rid of those too. Then you have to do that system reset thing that we did during the mod installation walkthrough, and that is that once everything's deleted, you have to turn off your system completely. You have to power off your system, and when the light stops blinking on the front of it, you unplug it and leave it for 2 to 5 minutes. Then you can plug it back in. You plug in your controller with your power cable into the system, and then on the PS4 itself, you press and hold the power button until it beeps a second time, and that'll load your PS4 in safe mode. And once you're in safe mode, it'll tell you to plug in your controller, but if you already have it plugged in, whatever, you can plug it in then, or if you already have it plugged in, just press the PS button in the center to connect it, and then go down to option 5, which is rebuild your database, and select that, and it will reboot your system and rebuild your database, and then it'll bring you back to the menu screen, the main menu screen of PS4, and then you have to shut off your system again, wait for the light to stop blinking, unplug it again for 2 to 5 minutes, and then you can plug it back in, and then you load up Fallout, and it'll create a brand new system folder for it the first time you load. So you'll notice when the main screen is cycling and playing the Fallout song, you'll get a pause in the visuals, and that means that it's created your system folder once that pause happens. Then you exit out of your game, or if you want to, right then you can change your settings. If you have changed any of your settings, any of your audio, or your controls, or your gameplay difficulty, your HUD display, any of that stuff that you change, you can adjust it then, because it'll all be reverted back to the game defaults. Then you back out of the game, and then you go back and copy your save file back into your Fallout folder. And once you've done that, then you can load up the game, you can load up that save file, and with a little bit of luck, you will have successfully defeated the 0 kilobyte save error, and you can move on. Now, a couple things that trigger it that I want to mention. Obviously, mods, we went over that in the last few videos. Mods can aggravate it. Creation Club skins can aggravate it. But there have been people that have experienced this bug that don't use mods and don't use Creation Club. So it's a real thing. I stand firmly by the idea that it is caused because of PlayStation 4's problem processing its RAM. And by doing this power cycle thing with the rebuilding the database, it combats it, and it can fix it. You will lose some progress, you will have to revert to an older save, but it should stop happening. Now, the other things that can trigger it are like marathon playthroughs, especially if you're doing a lot of building. And hey, compulsive survival builder, I do a lot of building. So that was my mistake. I built for like the entire morning, and then instead of saving and turning off my system and unplugging it to clear the memory, I just went out and I ran over to Abernathy Farm and I killed a bunch of zombies and I did a bunch of stuff. And then when I came back and I was dropping my loot off, I was playing for hours this morning, guys. And I was dropping my stuff off, and I noticed one of the things you'll notice when it's starting to happen is that sounds will go away, sound effects. And for me, I just also uploaded that video with my um, my radiation arch thing in my bedroom. That wasn't making any noise, and that made me suspect because it makes a lot of noise. If you've ever used one, you know it makes a lot of noise. It was working, but the sound effect wasn't there. And that is a key sign. The other things that tend to stop having their sound effects happen are your weapons, whether it's equipping them or unequipping them or firing them. Sometimes all those sound effects will go away. If you're getting that, try to save your game. Check it out because you're probably about to get the 0KB save error and you're going to have to go through that whole procedure. If that procedure doesn't work, then I'm sorry, you got to do full reinstall. Sometimes you even have to, if you're still getting it after that, you even have to completely reset your system back to factory settings. And I really hope that nobody has to go through that. But the trick is, if you do something like a marathon building playthrough where you just build and build and build for a couple hours, save your game, and if it saves, fine. Save your game periodically just to keep your progress going. But if you save a game and it's fine and you've finished what you're doing with your building, just turn it off and unplug it for a few minutes and then plug it back in, and that'll clear that memory and that'll keep your game running pretty fresh. Now, this error gets more and more common the more you play and the bigger your save files get. So really, like, I would say in between just what you plan on doing, instead of just like hitting a bunch of quests all in one playthrough and building houses and building settlements and going through all that stuff and then just trying to save, I would say when you accomplish something and you feel like you can take a few minutes break, just save it and unplug it for a few minutes because that will keep the game running pretty fresh. So now that sort of explanation is over, I'll real quick go over what some of the mods I added. I added the no settlement quest. That one's pretty simple. I put it in tweaks. I added foolhardy loading screens. I saw a few of them on a previous playthrough before I did my whole reinstall. I haven't noticed any yet, but I think there's only a few of them. I love Shanzo's. If you get a chance, check out the Foolhardy channel. He does great animated parody videos of Fallout and Skyrim. They're great. They're funny. And this is the loading screens from his videos. Let's see, what else did I add? It wasn't a whole lot. I mean, it was a few. Performance, number tweaks, and effects, maximum. This better workshop lights. Now, this is kind of like this one, which is why I put it right next to it. Whereas this one increases the radius with which the power conduits and generators emit electricity to power your lights. This increases the distance your lights cast light on. So you can use fewer lights, you can use higher lights. Anyway, so that's useful for me because I want to build that shop downstairs like I was showing in some of my other videos. And I don't want to have to always have those hanging bulbs because they're the best light, you know what I mean? Unrestricted power armor, this is a new one. These are all sort of convenience things that I added. This just allows you to like access workbenches and terminals and stuff like that while you're in your power armor. So you don't have to get out of your power armor to log into a terminal or use a workbench or something. It's great for when you you see that workbench on the go and you want to break down some weapons that you found to, I don't know, maybe upgrade something else or maybe have some junk to work with or components. You don't have to get out of your power armor, so that one's pretty straightforward. Detection shades. Now, I got this one because in my first video, like I was saying, I wanted to be able to add a targeting HUD to sunglasses, but it messed with my ability to change my helmet's color. So this is just a standalone pair of sunglasses that you get at Red Rocket that have that have targeting in them. So I switched between them and some sunglasses that I've added like some armor to, because I have UCO and unlocked ballistic weave. So if I want targeting, I'll put them on, because it doesn't work with the toggleable targeting HUD thing. This is all on its own. It's a different kind of targeting, but it's neat, and I like them. I've been using them. I'll show them off in one of the videos. And I put them with the Wasteland Bandolier because they're both armor that you can't build, which is what goes here. These are all the same. I added ingredient conversion, which allows you to convert like wild mute fruit into regular mute fruit, since you can't use those wild things to make, like, say, vegetable starch to make adhesive. You know what I mean? So this allows you to, and you can't plant them. So this allows you to take like potato flower or the carrot blossoms, stuff like that, and turn them into regular food that you can plant or use in your recipes, all that kinds of stuff. So I like it. It seems to work all right. I added the remote cabin. Now, this one did give me a conflict with immersive looting. They both edit the vault entrance, apparently. So I put remote cabin before it so that it didn't overwrite the things that immersive looting changed at the vault exit. Now, the other thing, I moved it lower. I still kept it in the same area, but I did notice that, like, in the vault, when I put it down here, in the vault, all of the vault crates are lootable with this mod if you put it down a little bit lower. I don't know if people noticed that in their loads when they did it through the first video, but I wasn't getting that before, and I am now. So by moving it down a little bit and doing a fresh reinstall, I was able to loot all of the vault containers. I still have my vault looter because I want that shipment of supplies. Underground Railroad's working fine. I added this because I have the Chinese stealth armor. I added it into weapon and armor modifications. It just changes it. It separates the helmet and the body armor. It adds a legendary slot. It adds some radiation and poison resistance, makes it quieter. It adds a ballistic weave slot and lowers the weight a little bit. It makes it just a little bit more useful, but not like super overpowered. But also, it doesn't add a craftable option, which a lot of these Chinese stealth armor mods do. You still have to go find it. And I'm too tempted to just build it if that's an option. So I like this one. I haven't actually found the stealth armor yet, but I'm hoping that it works out well. And then I added ballistic weave unlock because it was included in that wardrobe malfunction mod that I deleted, and I forgot that that I was counting on that mod to unlock ballistic weave for me. So I just added a single mod that unlocks ballistic weave, so you don't have to go through the railroad quest to do that. What else? I think that might be it, yeah. So that's everything I added, and the order that I put it into the load order that we had. I tried messing around with some of the other load orders, because technically immersive gameplay is a gameplay overhaul, which they go at the bottom, but immersive gameplay changes a lot more than just the gameplay. It changes a lot of the sorting. It changes a lot of stuff. It's more of a framework kind of situation, I think, in my opinion. Plus, when you move it down, all the mods that you add after it down here that change things that you want that immersive gameplay doesn't do, it just changes everything back. So you don't want that too low if you want to change other stuff about your game. The other thing is that junk is junk needs to go before... All right, well, first of all, it needs to go after immersive gameplay, because immersive gameplay changes some of the sorting. So junk is junk definitely has to go after that. But if you want to collect cigarettes and stuff like that, then you need Ellie's tweaks and fixes to go after junk is junk. If you don't care, if you just want all of that to be junk, where is Ellie's tweaks and fixes? Did I pass it already? Oh, I did. Anyway, if you want all that stuff to be junk, then put junk as junk after Ellie's tweaks and fixes. Oh, it's right there. Jeez, right at the top, right where Will is. So if you, because Ellie's tweaks and fixes changes some of that stuff back to miscellaneous. So that's just about preference. Junk is pretty simple. So just place it where, if you're going to use it, just place it where you want stuff to be. If you're not going to collect cigarettes, then I'd put it after Ellie's tweaks and fixes. But yeah, that's about it. On this playthrough, other than that 0KB glitch, I hadn't gotten any system crashes, which was nice. Oh, the other thing that was a little bit different in my enabling, I decided on this last load up to take things like transdogrifiable with dog armor. You don't actually get the transdogrifiable collar, transdogrify collar, until after you leave the vault. So I saved this one, and the other one was the Chinese stealth armor mod that I have. I saved that one because you don't get the quest for the Chinese stealth armor until after you leave the vault. So I saved them until I access the workbench. And I think that's probably a good philosophy as you're looking through, stuff that you don't even have the quest for yet. You maybe shouldn't mod anything for it before you leave the vault. So I would enable them after those quests start. Beyond that, everything's pretty much the same. And I'm just here kind of working on my house. There's the door that I just did a video on, put together. It's pretty neat. You should check that out. I added some workbench stuff. I'm working on this for the second time today because I lost all my progress. I got a nice little cooking station. Decided to go with a milk vending machine instead of the ice chest this time because it's a little more compact and I can fit like a trash can next to it and stuff. I'm using the make static thing a little bit more. It works pretty good. The only issue I've noticed with it is you'll go to use the sink and it'll be like, oh, take your toothbrush. See? Because you can just grab the stuff. You can't knock it over. It won't fall, but you can pick it up on accident and then you just have to place it again. So, I don't know. It's not as good, in my opinion, as OC Decorator, but OC Decorator has kind of a placement problem sometimes. A lot of stuff, you can't place... I wouldn't be able to place any of this stuff like this with OC Decorator. It would just clip through the shelves, and it would jump around trying to find where it was supposed to go. So, it's kind of nice. I like it. I get into this cabinet down here anyway, so I won't be grabbing this stuff. I got this pot of this saucepan. I brought the stuff from my house, so this is the saucepan from my house, my bread box, my coffee can, my teapot, my salt and pepper shaker. Yeah, and then a couple of the souvenir items that I found. My coffee cup that I found at my house. So, I don't know. I'm being weirdly sentimental this playthrough. And then my lamp, my picture frame, my undamaged American flag, my other lamp from my house. Yeah, so I don't know, I'm a dork, but and I'm doing a bit of a different setup. So anyway, I just wanted to go over that 0KB thing a little more clearly. I wanted to discuss some of the mods that I added and mention the fact that I did when I just tried to add them in on top of my previous save, I was getting game crashes, and I eventually got the 0KB error. That's why I just went back and started from scratch again and put them in the load order the way they are now. um, so, but if you're experiencing the 0KB save error, then I highly recommend that you follow the link to the 0KB Bethesda thread. It's got a lot of good tips in there on how to combat it. And regularly, just whenever, I know everybody does this. You'll go do something, and then you'll come back home, and you'll just be like, and you get all your stuff put away, and you're where you want it, and then you just have your guy ready. Maybe re-up on your ammo, maybe get some more stim packs and stuff, and then you got your guy, right? And you got him. And there's like this pause, and you're like, well, what should I do now? Well, what you should do then is save it, turn off your system, and unplug it for a few minutes. Every time, guys, every time. So, if you're on a PS4, unfortunately, it's just something that comes with the territory on it. So, anyway, I hope this video helps some people out. If you liked it, hit like, consider subscribing, hit the bell icon if you want to get notified when I upload videos, and I'll be working on this place until I feel ready to do a tutorial on the basement of Underground Railroad. Until then, have a happy day. Happy New Year, everybody. Glad 2020's over, and I'll see you next time.